Hello viewers, welcome to the tele lesson of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Open University. This session is on marketing of services. This topic is selected from marketing management course of first year MBA students. Services are one of the important components of any economy. What is a service? According to investors' words, service is a type of economic activity that is intangible, is not stored and does not result in ownership. Further, service is to be consumed at the point of sale itself. Hospitality services, healthcare services, financial services, all these are just a few examples for services. Compared to goods, services have certain unique features like intangibility, and they are perishable and they are heterogeneous. So, that is why the providers of services face few challenges, like because service that is mainly linked with the quality. So, defining the quality, maintaining the quality, ensuring consistency in the delivery of quality, these are few challenges faced by the service providers. Further, it is also difficult to satisfy the customers because the needs, the demands, the requirements of each and every customer may be different. So, that is why marketing services is different and also difficult compared to goods. To enlighten us more about marketing of services, we have Professor Rajesh Jempala with us in our studios today. Professor Rajesh is Director MBA Department of PB Siddhartha College, Vijayawada. So, thank you very much Rajesh for sparing your valuable time and coming all the way from Vijayawada to enlighten our students regarding marketing of services.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you. So, first of all, I request you to explain the concept of service. What is a service?
As you rightly explained, but let me explain the definition of given by Philip Kotler.
Okay.
A service is any act of performance that can offer by one party to another, which essentially is intangible in nature and does not result in any ownership. The service can be tied up with a manufacturing of good, or sometimes it may be standalone service also.
Okay. So, we know that the characteristics of goods are different from the characteristics of services. So, what are the unique characteristics of services?
Let us understand the characteristics makes the service marketing more challenging.
Okay.
Most of the services are intangible in nature. Intangibility in terms of you cannot touch the service like a physical good, but you can feel the service.
So, you can experience.
You can experience. Yeah. You can get an advice from a doctor or a lawyer. These are all services. Okay. So, in that context, it is mostly intangible, and you cannot separate a service from service provider. As economists says normally, you cannot separate a laborer from the labor.
Yes.
In that context, services can also be not separated from the service provider.
Only a doctor has to give the advice.
Yes. If the doctor is absent or the patient is absent, you cannot have the service. In the same manner, it is variable in nature. You cannot standardize just like a 75 gram soap or 100 grams ice cream. The service delivery cannot be standardized unless it is mastered. So, that is one of the greatest challenge of service management. At the same time, they are mostly perishable in nature. You cannot store the services as just like producing goods and storing in the godowns. So, in that context, whatever they produce, they have to consume simultaneously.
Okay. So, these are the unique features, that is they are not tangible, they are intangible, they are perishable and we cannot separate it from the service provider, both the parties.
Standardization is very difficult.
Standardization is difficult. So, nowadays actually everybody is talking about services. So, what are the reasons why service sector is getting lot of importance nowadays?
As you are all aware, actually India is getting lot of GDP, more than 55% from the service sector. So, in that context, as the structural economies are changing from agriculture to industry to the service, there is a tremendous scope for service marketing, especially the regions like affluence in the society is rising, per capita income is rising, and people are expecting to spend that money sometimes lavishly for personal reasons or for home decoration in that sense. At the same time, they have the leisure time also. They want to travel, they want to spend time with family, quality time they are calling. At the same time, they are health conscious like they are going to the therapies or yoga centers or spa centers. These are all leisure as well as health consciousness. And sometimes the working woman is also on the rise. You know, if both the wife and husband are working, they need a lot of different services. For example, they need a nanny service to take care about their children in that context. At the same time, the complexity of the products nowadays have been increased tremendously. So, this complexity makes the services to be more serviced by the service personnel separately. In that context, there is a huge rise in service. So, in that context, if you let us understand the other reasons for life is becoming complex in the sense time is becoming scarce. So, in that sense, people are outsourcing most of their activities to others like legal services or medical services or accounting services. In that sense, people are there to spend more money on services nowadays.
So that they can even have the expertism of professionals also, instead of they doing everything.
Yes.
Yeah. So there are various concepts in marketing which are very important, like marketing mix, promotion mix, and all those things. We know that there are 4 P's of marketing in case of a product.
Yes.
So is it the same concept applicable to services, or is there any difference in the marketing mix?
So normally we call it as marketing mix in the for the products, as you mentioned, 4 P's like product, pricing, promotion, and place. So along with these 4 P's, as the complexity of service marketing is more, so we have to add some more P's for this. So the additional 3 P's here we are talking like people, process, and physical experience. So the people plays a very important role here. So unlike in product marketing, sometimes the product itself will speak, but in service delivery, most of the times the people involvement is more. At the same time, the way they deliver the service, the process is very important. In the same time, even though it is intangible in nature, physical evidence people are expecting. Suppose if I go to a bank, even though it is a service sector, but still I need a checkbook, or I have to sign on a paper, or sometimes I will get some compliments from the bank. So these are all creating some impression. So brand logos of the bank can be published. So these are all the physical evidence the customer will carry. So in that context, along with the 4 P's, traditional 4 P's we talk about in marketing mix in product marketing, we have to add another 3 P's here. So altogether 7 P's we have to handle here.
That is people, process, and also physical
evidence.
As far as the process is concerned, of course, we know that nowadays there is a lot of change. The people are using technology like anything. Will you please throw some light on how actually this technology is really helping to provide qualitative service?
Yeah, earlier most of the services are delivered by the people, but today the technology to some extent is replacing, thereby enhancing the productivity levels of the service delivery. So that in terms of saving a lot of money for the company and time to the customer. Actually, nowadays technology is replacing lot of human element in product delivery or service delivery. So in that context, if you see, earlier people used to go to the shopping physically, even though now they are going, but still sometimes due to the want of time, they can directly buy lot of things, many things from the online. So that is giving scope for a lot of other service sector firms.
Even if we take the banking sector,
yes.
Even sitting in our office or at home, we can transfer the funds, we can do so many things by opting for this net banking, yes, and all those things.
Yes, ma'am, you rightly pointed out, ATM, people are talking like 24/7. That has changed the entire banking industry. Earlier we used to have a banking hours for only from 10 to 2 o'clock. But today we have 24 hours facility.
Only on a working day, 10 to 4,
yes,
people used to have lot of problems.
Yes, that has given a lot of scope for other financial services also.
Yes, yes, yes. So there is another concept, Professor Rajesh, that is a marketing triangle. What is this marketing triangle?
So they call it as a golden triangle in service marketing, or the trinity of service marketing especially. So you see here there are 3 people plays an important role: company, employees, and customers. Company has to speak first with their employees. So there is a growing concern today. We have to address the issues of the employees first, customers next. If the employees believe in the concept of the company, then they in turn they can do the marketing for the company. So, this process we require the people element here.
Okay.
So, company should speak first, we call it as internal marketing also.
Okay.
Then at the same time company has to speak directly to the customer, we call it as external marketing. So, it will making the promise to the customer. At the same time employee has to interact with the customer, we call it as interactive marketing.
Okay.
So, these three triangle elements will make the complete spectrum of service marketing.
So, internal, external and interactive.
Yes, madam.
Oh, so they are the.
So, here from company to the employees, people play an important role.
Okay.
From company to the customer, the 7 P's or marketing mix plays an important role. From employees to the customers, the process plays an important role.
Okay, okay. So, there is another concept that is service mix. So, will you please throw some light on the service mix? What are the categories of service mix?
Yeah, actually there are no, it is very hardly defined, very difficult to define the service, because there are certain pure products, but also demands little bit service for them. And there are some goods with accompanying services, there are some hybrid kind of stuff. At the same time, there are some more services with accompanied goods, in the sense and some other elements like pure service, like legal advice, these are all. So, in that context, the service mix itself, the composition of the service in the goods and services makes it a very difficult to compare with the one another. So, we require to understand what is the exact service mix we are going to deliver in the whole process.
Every time it is not compulsory that the customer is satisfied as far as the service is concerned.
Yes.
So, what are the reasons for the gaps for unsuccessful delivery of the services?
Actually, there are 5 different gaps people are speaking, and especially in service marketing. Gap between customer expectation and the management perception.
Okay.
What the customer is expecting from the company is different. What the management is perceiving is totally different. That is the first gap.
Okay.
The second gap is the gap between the management perception and the service quality specification.
Okay.
Suppose the management thinks that this is enough, they know that they want to give this, but at the same time they cannot define exactly the specific standards to their own engineers, they cannot communicate properly.
Okay.
The third one is the gap between service quality specification and service delivery. So, the fourth one, you can see the gap between service delivery and external communication. We are delivering the product, but our communication there is a gap, or sometimes we are promising more, delivering less. And the last gap we are talking is gap between perceived service and expected service. So, that means the customer perception is also very important and plays an important role, because what he perceives is more important than what actually he receives. So, there is a gap between what he is perceiving and what he is expected to receive.
Okay.
If there is a gap, then what he will say, it is not working.
Okay.
So, these are the 5 gaps one should understand and carefully should make the management believe that they should fill these gaps.
Fill these gaps so that they can satisfy the customers to the at least to the maximum
extent. Yes.
Need not be 100%, but maximum extent.
And nowadays you cannot satisfy the customer 100%.
Because the expectations, the demands are
people
very,
are
very
saying
different.
like ye dil mange more. At the same time, customer is not paying more.
Yes.
That is the problem.
It's a gap model, and this is the same one and the same.
Same.
There is another concept that is gap model.
Same.
So this is
Same
one
model.
and the same.
Yes, these are the 5 established gaps that they were recognized.
Okay.
And these gaps must be addressed carefully.
Okay, okay. So, what are the determinants of service quality? How to determine it?
Yes, service quality has to be determined, because it is like a metric. First of all, whether it is reliable or not. So, reliable means whether they are delivering on the promise or not. At the same time, whether they are assurance, whether they are assuring the customer that they are giving this type of product. At the same time, whether they are tangible benefit, even though it is intangible in nature, whether they are delivering any physical evidence in terms of their service. At the same time, responsiveness. Suppose if a customer complains, how fast they are addressing these issues. So, whether they are responsive or not. So, these are the different criteria. On these issues, you have to, what I can say, rate a service firm.
Okay.
So, like these are like measurements. Nowadays, if you can measure anything, that can be controlled. But if there is no proper measure, then it can not be addressed properly.
Standards have to be fixed, and so that it will be easy for us to measure.
Yes. So, if a customer makes a complaint, how many minutes or how many hours it is addressed.
Yeah.
So, if it is not recorded or if it is not understood, then customer feel bad about the complaint.
Yeah. And even if we call some service providers like these mobile service providers, we will get a response that your call will be answered within this many minutes or this second, something like that, so that we can decide whether we can just hold the line or we can just disconnect it and attend some other work.
Yeah, people are expecting immediate delivery, immediate service delivery. So, in that sense, our waiting time has to be reduced tremendously. So, the companies must make some extra precaution because everybody is hard pressed with some other issues.
Yes.
So, they do not bother about the company problems, they bother about their own problems. So, the company must understand that hardships of the customer they are using. Suppose if you see continuously the service marketing management we call, then some steps has to be initiated by the management. See, in terms of improving the productivity levels. So, let us understand first how we will develop or improve
the productivity,
service productivity.
Yeah.
As just I mentioned, customer is not willing to pay more, at the same time he is expecting more.
Okay.
So, that itself is a challenge. So, what we have to do is the service provider would have to find their optimum service quality ratios.
Okay.
So, service at some cost, but whether that cost can be affordable or not. Sometimes it is a cost for the customer, but what value you are delivering to the customer. Customer is not worried most of the times about the cost, he is worried more about the value he is getting.
Right.
So, you should change your marketing perception from price angle, cost angle to that of value consciousness. As I mentioned earlier also, technology nowadays plays an important role and it is substituting labor content to the most of the service elements, so that you can save certain costs. At the same time, the customers can also substitute a part of the service delivery process. Nowadays, you create awareness to the customer, him or herself can solve the problems. Your engineer need not go and settle the score there. So, in the same manner, nowadays you should innovate continuously. If you do not innovate, you will perish. So, in that context, all the services nowadays are sometimes replaced with product innovations. Earlier, certain medical very complex issues have to be handled physically with a doctor, but today the telemedicine or robotics used in medicine is making the service marketing a little more interesting, at the same time futuristic also.
In any field, there may be certain best practices. So, what are the best practices as far as the marketing of services is concerned? Best
practice you can emulate from not only your own industry, but any other industry also. But your top management must commit to the service first. Okay. Unless the top management is committed, the field officers or field supervisors cannot deliver the service. So, all the steps must be initiated to see the top management is committed to it. High standards must be set. Setting high standards is not a sin. At the same time, you should use self-serving technologies and you should motivate the system and you should give the training to the necessary training to the employees. First of all, you should satisfy the customer complaints and you should be very responsive to their questions. At the same time, you should see everybody is happy in the whole process.
Okay.
You serve with a smile. Sometimes we go to a hotel for what? We are normally going to the hotel not only for getting some food, but we require the ambience, the good looking atmosphere, the tidiness, the courtesy. All these issues plays an important role.
Even the same case, the healthcare also.
Yes.
How they receive it, how actually they are delivering the service is also plays a very important role.
Yes.
So, actually, what are the moments of truth here?
Moments of truth is very important, where the customer meets the service point. Okay. If that is not addressed properly, whatever you speak, that won't function. So, normally customer comes to a particular service for a special need. That need has to be addressed. If that is not addressed properly, that is your entire whole service marketing concept has gone. So, that moments of truth, you should capture it properly and you should save it. So, you create a positive impact for the company in the mind of the customer, so that customer will endorse your brand or your company in future. Suppose your performance is as good as your last performance. So, customer won't remember 10 years back story. He remembers what is his last experience. So, that experience should be captured properly.
Okay. And more than this, even the publicity actually plays a very important role in making surveys more successful. So, sticking to the identifying the quality, actually what the customer is expecting and meeting that actually plays a very important role.
Yes,
what do you say?
Yes, madam. As you said, you know that is one of the gaps we address.
Yeah.
Suppose company is marketing communications, will speak something,
Yeah.
but customer expectation is different. If there is a gap, it has to be addressed. Even though sometimes company is delivering, but customer's perception is different. So, in that context, what will happen? The issue is to be some misapprehensions has to be spelled out from the customer's mind. In that context, the actual delivery will take place.
Okay. So, will you please sum up? So, whatever actually we discussed so far, what are the characteristics of surveys, what are the various elements of the marketing mix, and what is the importance of this marketing in case of services? Will you please sum up, Mr. Rajesh?
Yes, the service marketing is also a part of marketing management along with the goods management. So, we require to understand it is having a special challenges. As you mentioned in the beginning, there are distinctive characteristics of service marketing like intangible in nature, inseparable, the variability in the standardization, and they're perishable in nature. These are the challenges one should address properly. And in terms of marketing strategy, 4 P's we normally try to understand, but here in service marketing you have to talk about 7 P's. At the same time, you should also look after that service marketing triangle, all the elements properly. So, you should enable the promise, you should deliver the promise, you should communicate the promise. So, that players like here company, customer and employees plays an important role, because the process is important, people are important, and the physical evidence also you should leave, because people are still possessing a habit of seeing and touching the goods or services they are trying to buy. So, in that context, as the challenges are many, so the moments of truth, you should deliver what you have committed. Walk the talk should be followed. So, unless you walk the talk, people will spread bad message about the company. The word of mouth promotion by the customer either may be positive or negative. We should see that all customers should give a positive talk about your company.
No. Thank you very much, Professor Rajesh, for being with us in our studios today and enlightening our students regarding marketing of services.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
పాఠ్యాంశాలపై మీ సూచనలు సలహాలు సందేహాలు మాకు తెలియజేయండి. మీ సూచనలు సలహాలు సందేహాలు మాకు తెలియజేయవలసిన చిరునామా: డైరెక్టర్, ఆడియో విజువల్ ప్రొడక్షన్ అండ్ రీసెర్చ్ సెంటర్, డాక్టర్ బిఆర్ అంబేద్కర్ ఓపెన్ యూనివర్సిటీ, ప్రొఫెసర్ జి రామరెడ్డి మార్గ్, రోడ్ నంబర్ 46, జూబ్లీ హిల్స్, హైదరాబాద్ 500033.